Hello and welcome to the Ally Invest Service Show. My name is Brian Overby with Ally Invest, and I'll be your host for today's show. On our show today, the theme is going to be option trading inside your Ally Invest account. Today, we have with us Keegan Parker from the Ally Invest Customer Service Desk, and he'll be here to answer any questions that you may have. I will be doing a demo of the options tools inside the Ally Invest live trading platform. But with that mentioned, our viewers are the ultimate drivers of the content of this show. If you have any general questions about the platform, please start by putting them in the chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. I have to point out for privacy concerns that we can only answer general questions about the platform. And please do not put in account information or contact information in the chat box for all to see. The goal of this show is to help out as much as we can in this open platform without compromising the security or safety of your accounts. So with that said, we did have somebody that put a question in the comment section of last week's show. So I'm going to start by asking that question of Keegan. Keegan, here we go. FireMip Spy says, when you open an account, there is a choice between a Roth IRA and a beneficiary Roth IRA. What is the difference? I have a beneficiary listed on my retirement accounts, Roth IRA, etc. But if you click Roth IRA, is a beneficiary not allowed overall?
Nope.
Okay, so I guess it's just the difference between a beneficiary Roth and a regular Roth IRA, Keegan.
All right, got it. So just to answer that question on, I guess, the most basic way possible. So online, you said you have some retirement accounts already listed, a Roth 401k, et cetera, and you want a beneficiary listed. Ally Invest is the same way. So you would go online, you would open up a Roth IRA account, and it would ask you for a beneficiary right there in the online application. Now, let's say something were to unfortunately happen and you were to, pass on. In that situation, your beneficiary will go online and open up a beneficiary Roth IRA account. So essentially, the difference is a beneficiary Roth IRA account is for a situation where someone unfortunately passes away and they need to open up an account and they were already listed as a beneficiary on a pre-existing Roth IRA account.
All right. So if you have any questions, let's put them in the chat box, and I will stop periodically and try to address any general questions that you might have about everything Ally Invest. But with that said, my actual title is I am the Senior Options Analyst at Ally Invest. So I'm going to do a demo as requested on last week's customer service show of the option trading tools within the Ally Invest live platform. And I want to mention that with that situation, we are within the Ally Invest live trading platform overall. So if I go to the option trading tools, I'm sharing my screen right now. I'm going to start by just demoing a simple trade if you are trading options here at Ally Invest. So the last trade is at 112.75 on advanced micro devices. Now, I'm going to use advanced micro devices. It's not meant to be a recommendation overall, but I'm going to use that because there is a position inside this test account, and I'm going to highlight some of the features that even if you do have traded options within Ally Invest for a long time, you might not know about, and it deals specifically with the profit and loss calculator overall. So if I look at the last trade, we see advanced micro devices. If I'm going to put in a symbol for this underlying stock, you can start typing in AMD. And if you don't know the symbol and you start typing advanced micro devices, you can just click on it and that will pull up that symbol. And then we have a lot of option strikes that are available. If you've never traded options before, where there are two different flavors of options, you have calls and you have puts. And inside our chain, we highlight that. So if I scroll down, we have this little slider bar, which happens to be strike prices. And these are strike prices for both calls and puts. We highlight the puts on the right-hand side of the screen, and we highlight the calls on the left-hand side. We also show you the different expiration dates. Right now, I only have one expiration date. That's the September 17th expiration, 18 days away. But if I want to add more expiration dates, all I have to do is click on this drop down, and you will see all the different expirations that are available on advanced micro devices. So right now I have the September expiration. Just for the demonstration, I'm going to add a couple more. This is a very nice feature in that I don't have to clutter up my chain. If I know I'm either going to be trading a September or maybe an October option contract, all I have to do is then check that box, and you see that once I do that, it only displays those two expirations. This one's 18 days away. It highlights the number of days, and this one's 32 days away. We also, in the middle column, show the actual value of the underlying stock. Now, with that said, before I keep going, I actually have another question in here. And here is the question from Monica. Okay, Monica is talking a little bit more about the trading app for options, and we're not going to get into that today, Monica. Monica's saying that we need to upgrade the trading within the app. So with that said, I'll just acknowledge that. Yeah, we are working on that app immensely. And the trading features inside the mobile app are fairly similar to some of the features that are available inside the actual Ally Invest Live option chains. And one of the things that I like the best about our chains, and also is available in the mobile app, if you might not be aware of it, is the check boxes. We make it very simple to enter a single trade or enter a two-legged trade inside the Ally Invest option trading platform. So let's start by just doing a very simple trade. We're going to talk about call options today. Those are the most straightforward option contracts. If I buy a call, it's a bullish trade. So if I'm looking at the September 17th expiration, 18 days away, there's two ways that I can do this from the option chains. First of all, I can just click on the ask. And if I do that, it's going to populate the quick trade ticket with an order to buy this option contract. And I'll do that right now. So this is the easiest and quickest way to actually enter an order inside your Ally Invest account. And we see here we have a quote on advanced micro devices. We see that we are getting the bid, mid, and ask for that option. We are buying to open that contract. Now, if I was long that option contract and I wanted to sell it, I'm buying to open initially. I would click on this and I would click sell to close. That's how I would close out that position. These are the different expiration dates. And here is the bid, the mid, and the ask on that trade. Right now, the limit is $4.40. Usually when you're trading options, you are entering limit orders. You do have the ability to just place it at market. We will normally default to a limit order if you come directly from the chains, because it's more common because of the width of the bid-ask spreads that people actually enter limit orders, saying that I do want to execute this trade, but I'm going to limit the price that I will pay for it. I'm willing to give up my execution if I cannot get that price. So for example, right now, if we were going to be buying this option contract, we see it at 415 by 420. If I click on 420 right on the ask, that will actually put it in, and it's effectively a market order. But if the market were to move a nickel on me as I hit that send button, I might not get filled on this trade overall. I'm saying I want to receive I want to pay at least 420 for this, no more. And then I would just click preview order if I'd like to, and then I can actually preview it, make sure everything's right, and I can send it to the trading floor. Now, another thing that I can do is I can go to a full trade ticket. If you're not comfortable with this right rail and all this information being compacted on the right-hand side of your screen, you can actually click full trade ticket. And when you do that, it will open up a bigger, easier to see, less cluttered version of our order ticket. So I got that spinning right now. My computer's moving a little slow because of we have the Zoom running right now overall. So I'll come back and we'll look at that full trade ticket before we leave today. But let me go and check the actual chat box, see if we have any other questions. All right. So if you have any questions, please make sure you put them in the chat box. We don't have any at this time, so I'm just going to be moving forward with the presentation. All right, so here is our live trading platform. We have these strikes that are available. I showed you very simply, if you want to just buy an option contract, all you got to do is click on the ask, and that ask price means that I'm willing to buy. If I wanted to populate a sell, I would click on the bid. If I click on this bid on this option contract, you will see that it will populate a sell to open, or it could be a sell to close if you already own that option contract overall. Now, if you're doing more advanced trading, now on the stock play of the day, which we do every Tuesday here on the Ally YouTube channel, we talk about a little bit more advanced trades. Myself and a colleague of mine talk about a stock every day, and we get into a paper trade using the Ally Invest option chains overall. But with that said, I would go out, and a long call spread means that I'm buying one option contract and selling another option contract. So we make it very simple. I think we have one of the easiest order entries out of all the major brokerage firms around. And all you do is you click once on the checkbox, and that would put a buy in. Effectively, I could buy this option contract by just clicking that box, scrolling down to our workbench and hitting trade. That would be another way to just buy an option contract. But this time I want to do a spread. So how can I do that spread? I'm going to buy this one option contract, and then I'm going to sell that option contract. Now, if I do that, that's called a long call spread. But in the options trading world, more importantly, or the brokerage world, if you will, we would just say that this is a two-legged trade, a two-legged trade. So that means that we're just trading two options at one time. So if I scroll down, I see that this is at the mid price of 85 cents. I'm buying the 113, selling the 115 option contract. This would be a net mid price right now. That means that if I buy this option and sell this option at the same time, I am going to try to execute this trade for a net debit to the account. If I click on the trade button, once again, it gets put in the right rail over here. And I'm seeing that I am buying to open this September 17th expiration, 113 strike call option. And at the same time, selling to open one of the same expiration, 115 strike call option. The natural right now, that's where the market is at, is 95 cents. So once again, I'm going to click on this, and it will populate the order type at a debit, and it'll be a net debit. And the amount that I'm willing to pay is 90 cents. That means for every 1-by-1 spread that executes, I would pay $90 plus commission to execute that trade. And once again, you click preview order, and I think I'll click preview order at this point in time. Oh, shoot. When I went to that ticket, it signed me out overall. All right. All right. So hopefully we got a question in here. Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask you a question, Keegan, and I'm probably going to have to log back into the account because it booted me when I tried to open it in a different tab. So here's the question. All right. Keegan, I think you can address this question for the crowd. Is margin buying power available for option purchases?
Okay, good question. So you cannot use margin buying power for option trading. You have to do it with the amount of settled cash in your investment account.
All right. Yeah, so in general, margin buying power is not available for options because options are not marginable, but you can use the cash available in order to place a trade. So a lot of times, let me go and pull up an account. Give me a couple of seconds here. And I can show you what you can use to buy options inside your account. So let's go and look at the balances page. Here, 1 second. Inside the live trading platform. And I'll highlight exactly what you can use. Now, this happens to be a test account. This is an IRA account. I'm not quite there yet. All right. Had to log back in. I apologize for the inconvenience here. change this. Here we go. Okay, so if we look at our holdings page inside the Ally Invest Live trading account, you have option buying power overall. And in this instance, it's going to be equal to your cash available. Now, if this was a margin account, you would see inside the holdings page, you would have something that would be called options buying power. And over here in the margin account, it would show you the total amount of options that you could buy inside your Ally Invest account. So it's also known as cash available. In our Ally platform, if you have a margin account, we will highlight that buying power, the amount of cash that is available to trade options overall. And that all shows up there. Now, this test account is not a marginable account, it's a cash account. So that's not showing you that number at this point in time. All right. Any other questions? Can we have more than one watch list on options research? All right. As far as watch lists are concerned, you can have more than one, and it's really straightforward. What I have highlighted here in this test account is a VIX watch list, and this is kind of just a little tricks to the trade. I always like to put a number in front so that I have the ones that I like to go to listed 1, 2, 3, 4 overall. So that's always how I name a watch list. If you want to add an option contract, you can have as many watch lists as you would like. Approximately, I think there might be some type of limit eventually in it. But if you want to add a new watch list, all I have to do is click. Where am I got to click? Oh, there it is. Okay. Create a new watch list. And I enter this, and we'll call this one options. I'm going to click add. And then I'm going to click add symbol. And I'm going to click add option. So AMD, we'll do advanced micro devices. That will be, we'll keep that one up and running. We'll go to the September, I think we were using the 17th expiration, and we'll look at the 100 strike call option. We'll do 110. All right. And then I click add. And now I have my option trading watch list available to me, named options. I can rename it if I would like to. I can add more than symbols. I can add stocks to it if I want. So I'll just add IBM. Once again, nothing that we're showing you today is meant to be a recommendation. It's just supposed to be a demo. And so then I have the AMD call inside my watch list. And I also have the underlying stock, IBM. I guess it makes sense for me to add AMD, wouldn't it? So let's add that one, and that's my watch list. Now, I have a VIX watch list that I use a lot when I'm talking on the stock play of the day. And this has all the different futures contracts for the VIX options. And we also show you the VIX index, anything that's volatility that's available. And that's my number one watch list that I actually keep on my dashboard inside the Ally Invest live trading account overall. All right. So let's go in, and I want to highlight the feature that I'm kind of talked about. I talked about a little bit basic options so far. So let me get to the chains again. Apologize for getting booted. Here's my option chains. Okay, so AMD. So we know we have a position. If we just looked at the last screen, you saw that there's a position on advanced micro devices. And that's part of the reason why I chose this underlying. The test account has a position on advanced micro devices. So I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom of this screen, and I'm going to highlight probably one of my favorite tools within our option chains is actually called the profit and loss calculator. Now, if I add options up here, in the chains, calls or puts, if I use the check boxes, that would be made available inside the profit and loss calculator. So we talked about a long call spread. We'd use the September 17th expiration. Let's add it, and let's take a look at what the profit and loss calculator is implying could happen if the underlying stock goes up or down in the near term. So I'm going to buy the 112, and I'm going to sell the 114. All right, so I see that the midpoint on this trade is 85 cents. If I bought it at the market, I would expect to get around 95 cents. That's where our workbench is at. We're also giving you the position deltas. These are advanced pricing mechanisms, but this is on that position. So you're seeing the net delta for both of these option contracts if you were to buy one contract overall. Then I scroll down to the profit and loss calculator. I'll talk a little bit about the probability calculator if we have time, but I'm going to highlight the profit and loss calculator. Now, if I look at this, you see that once I put that in the workbench, it applies it to the profit and loss graph. Now, it's a little bit zoomed in. So if I'd like to actually zoom in a little bit more so that I can see where our break even is at, and I can see where at expiration, the dotted line, this is how this position would look like at expiration. So the dotted line looks a lot like what you would see inside the Ally Invest options playbook. It shows you at expiration where you want the underlying stock to be. So for example, here, this is where the underlying stock is at. That's what the gray line is highlighting on the graph. We're buying the 112 call and we're selling the 114. That means we want the market to go to 114 or beyond in this scenario. And if it does, then we may make our max profit. If it goes below or stays below 112, then we'd make our max loss. And as I move my cursor, you see that we're highlighting the underlying price as of right now. We're highlighting it at expiration. And basically at the target date, if the underlying stock is at this level with 18 days remaining to expiration, this is how much I would be down on this trade overall if the market went against me. Now, the colored line is as of today. As of today, this is what our profit and loss graph looks like. And that's known as the target date in that profit and loss box. Now, I want to change that up. And I want to say, okay, I'm going to put this position on. Let's say the most of the days go away. We'll say there's only 3 days remaining on this trade. And I'll do that just to show you that now this line is going to start morphing into the dotted line. And if I continue on down, I'm going to go all the way down to 0 days remaining to expiration. And when I do that, now we're basically becoming the dotted line at expiration. So as time decays, the profit and loss on my position will definitely change along with that decaying of time in the prices of the option contracts overall. All right. William asks, can you set alerts on options? And the answer is yes, we can, William. One of the things about that is the alerts would be inside the Ally Invest platform. You have to be logged in to see the alerts overall. So if I am going to go to this position page, I think I got to go to the tools. There they are. And I click on alerts, try opening it in a new tab. Hope that doesn't screw it up. Once that comes up, because that's what I did before and it logged me out for some reason. But once I get into the alerts, I can set an alert on an options price, and I will get a pop-up if I'm inside the Ally Invest live trading platform saying that that option contract has reached that price overall. So there we are. Okay, so in this instance, let's stick with the AMD theme as always. And we'll hit find option. So we'll do that same call option. We'll go out to the 18th. Oh, I think it was the 15th. We'll do that. We'll do 110. One second. There it goes. Find option. 17th, 112 call, that works. Hmm. All right. Well, for some reason, my option is not coming up. I don't have a good answer for that. Okay, let's just go and say that if we had AMD and we were going to do I guess I'll just do one on the stock. We'll say the target price is 114. And I'm wondering if I got logged out again. I apologize for that. All right, let's go back. There it is. All right. Try the option. 113 call. One last chance here. I'm a little worried that I keep getting logged out of the test account. I apologize. But this is where you would do the option alert, type in the symbol, find the option, select the trigger, last price, bid price, ask price, decide if you want it to be equal to or greater than, and then you put the target price in. You can actually put a note in if you'd want to say something like, this is my top level on my option contract, lower level. I entered this because of a potential breakout at this price. Those are just, you can create a little note and that note will show up. If you want to delete any of the alerts, you just go ahead and click delete. I'll keep this one in. Let's do an AMD and I'll do it a little closer to the price right now. All right. So let's go last price, AMD condition, greater than, and we'll say 112.70. Okay. Create an alert. And gosh, I don't know what's going on right now. All right. Well, we have another question, and let's address it. I'll try to address this. Hopefully, Keegan can address the question. I'm going to try to see what's going on. Why this is not accepting my information right now. Here is the question: when selling stocks, we can sell certain lots. If so, do I sell the shares first, then contact customer service to tell them which lots I want to sell? All right, Keegan, do you know that answer?
Yeah, I can handle that. So that would be correct. You can sell your security, and then I usually suggest clients contact us before settlement. So if it's an option position within 1 business day, if it's a stock position within 2 business days, and what we can do is we can, depending on how often you plan on selling specific lots, we can give you access to our older platform, which is called Classic. And then you can go in there yourself and set up specific tax lots to match each other. If it's just like maybe a once every, blue moon, like once a month, then we can just do it for you manually. And then we just ask 1 to 2 business days for that to be reflected. And then like whenever you get your monthly statement, you can go there and just confirm the tax lot information if you wanted specific lots to match up.
All right. Okay, so we have another question. And as I said, you guys are the drivers of content of this show. So if you can, please make sure that you put them in the chat box. And here's the next question that I have. I buy passive stocks where I invest similar account amounts each month in stocks that pay dividends. Can I get a calculated estimate of monthly income for a future date? Okay, let me try to think about this one a little bit too. And Keegan, tell you to put your thinking cap on also. I buy passive stocks where I invest similar amounts each month in stocks that pay dividends. Can I get a calculated estimate of monthly income for a future date? So I'm assuming that the question is saying, can I try to figure how much income in dividends I'm going to receive each month? Is that basically the question? And I throw that back to username MTJ5992.
That would be my assumption as well, based on how the question was, I guess, written. I can, I guess, go into that a little bit if you would like.
Yeah, go ahead, Keegan. What would be your answer?
So unfortunately, we do not. The reason being is because every company doesn't necessarily put out the same dividends like every month or every quarter. That information can change. And it's also up to that company to announce how much that dividend will be. So for that reason, that's why we're unable to forecast like what your future monthly income would be based on a dividend, just because we don't know that far ahead of time, you know, what that potential dividend amount could be.
All right. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the chat box right now. We got time for a few more questions, but we're coming to the very end of the show. I have one thing that I do want to highlight. I apologize. I did actually get removed from the trading account at this point in time. So I'm going to try to get back in. So I think that might have had a lot to do with the alerts. But you can find that alerts under the tools, and maybe you want to go try it out on your own. I showed you how you do it. You just got to set your trigger, and you can set the alert up. And I think it had something to do with the fact that there must be someone else using this test account at the same time. So I apologize for the foobar that is happening right at this second. Okay, so here's one thing I want to highlight. Then I'm going to ask one last question, and then we'll move on from today, and maybe we'll come back and try this again on the option trading. All right, so AMD. Here's the one little thing that a lot of people don't know about, which is one of my favorite features. If you have a position on AMD, we showed you the profit and loss graph and how it can be used and how it can be used to try to give you a realistic expectation what might happen to your long call spread or your individual option contract. One of the things that's nice, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here, is that if you have a position, if you have a holding inside your account, in this instance, there is a long call option on AMD going out to January, and there's a short call option that goes out to September. If I check those boxes, it will actually put that position in my profit and loss calculator. Then I can say to myself, okay, I have that position on. What if I wanted to add another position? So I'm going to go up and let's go a little bit. I guess I'll stay with that January option contract. No, I think it's is it January? What? Let me see. What do we have? January 21st. I don't want to make it too busy. So in this instance, if I go out to the January 21st option contract and I say, what happens if I add to my position and I decide I'm going to buy another long call option? If I do that in this trade, you'll see that as I scroll down to the profit and loss graph, I have my workbench. This is a position that I'm adding to my profit and loss graph, and I have my current position at the very bottom. I can choose to add that long call. I can remove the long call by taking that out of the position. And here's our alert. So at least that one alert did pop up. So AMD did hit 113, and that's what popped up on our screen. We saw that on the right-hand side. So I was able to get that one alert in. But then the account got logged out after that. So now if I look at this position over here on AMD, I see that I am long 2 contracts, short 2. I'm going to buy an extra one. Let's make that 2 contracts also. And now I see how does that change my position? And what it does is it gives me a little bit more upside, but obviously there's a little bit more cost. So it adds to the total cost of the trade. It means that I could lose more at expiration. I can then once again go in and adjust this and look at that shorter term option contract, and we'll go down to 1 day remaining to expiration, and it will regraph that position. I could add volatility by clicking the volatility slider. What happens if implied volatility goes up? And I can graph that position, and that adjusts everything relative to the inputs that you put in. But a lot of people do not know that your holdings are actually shown inside our Ally Invest option chains if you have a position just by putting your symbol into the option chains in general. A couple other things that we could highlight here. You have an earnings date. That's very important in options, obviously, because the stock can become very volatile. So we highlight your earnings date. And if the stock pays any dividends, it's all available here inside the Ally Invest option chains. You can also collapse your chains if you want to get directly to your workbench just by clicking that little button. Click that. Now we just see our profit and loss graph on that position. All right, so we're going a little bit long here because we had a couple of technical snafus. So I'm going to ask for any last questions out there? And I see we got a couple of them. To look at the trade before entering, is there a screen before? Is there a preview screen? Okay, yes, there is a preview screen. And I think I tried to enter it. Let's go in and add this one option contract. So I'm going to go back to the option strategy workbench. I'm going to click trade, and we'll put a limit order in, and we'll make it below the market. So if we were going to buy this one option contract, we'll make it at $11, which is below where the market is at. I'll click preview order, and you will see here, this is the preview order screen saying that we're buying the open two of the AMD 2022 115 call options at a limit price of $11, and the duration is good for the day. Now, I can highlight that, and I'm just going to click on it because we're at the end of I'll just go directly to this, which kind of was a problem to start with because I tried to open it in a different screen. But if I look at this trade now, we're buying to open two contracts of the 115 call. This is a little bit more less cluttered screen if you prefer that. If you feel more comfortable entering it through this, you still have the same scenarios available to you. You can do the limit order, you can do the market order. You can also do stop and stop limits on options too, just like you can on stocks. Once again, you click the preview trade. I'm going to put it in, it's at $11. I click preview, and I get that same preview screen before I send that order to the actual trading floor overall. All right. So I'm going to make this the last question. And the last question is, kids and cars. If I buy a call option, do I have to buy the stock overall? All right. So with that question, I think I'm going to highlight the options playbook. I don't know what's going on there. I'm going to highlight inside the options playbook. Now, this is a book that I've written about options. We make it available to all for free on our website, optionsplaybook.com. We also sell the book on Amazon and do a lot of promos with it overall. But inside the options basic website, we talk about what you can do once you're long an option contract. So once you bought an option or sold an option contract, what can you do? Most of the time, people will just close out that position. And if I close that out, to answer your question, I don't have to buy the underlying stock. If I choose to buy that option contract, like we were highlighting today, we talked a lot about buying options overall, and the market goes in the direction I want it to go, or it goes against me and I just want to get out, I can also go out and just close that position. And this section of the playbook kind of shows it. It says cashing out your options. And that's what most people do. Actually, this comes from, the book was written a while back, but from 2008, and the numbers really haven't changed that much, from the Options Clearing Corporation. About 70% of all option contracts actually get closed before the expiration date. So most of the time, people buy an option and they're like, oh, it's going up. I'm doing good on this situation. I'm going to sell it and close it and move on. Or I'm losing money and the market's going down. I'm going to sell it and close it and move on. I can exercise if I choose to, and I go to that expiration date and I want to buy that underlying stock, buy that 100 shares of AMD in our situation, I can do that. And if I exercise, about 11% of option contracts are exercised, and then about 19% of option contracts expire worthless. That means that they went to expiration, they were not in the money, they did not have any intrinsic value, so they actually expired worthless. Now, that's bad if you're buying options. You don't want it to expire worthless. But if you're selling option contracts, and a very popular strategy is covered call writing, if you're doing a covered call and that option expires worthless, well, that's all right. That means that you gain the entire premium from selling that option contract. So this is a great little section about if you're buying options, what the procedures that go along as you close out your positions. And then lastly, keeping tabs on open interest talks a little bit about what open interest and that mysterious number is in the options trading world. So if you're new to options, those are two great places to start, not to mention just the Rookie's Corner in general inside the options playbook. All right. Well, that's it for this edition of the Ally Customer Service Show. I apologize for some of the technical difficulties that I've had. And we will talk to you next week on Monday's Customer Service Show. Check us out tomorrow for the stock play of the day. We'll talk a little bit more about option strategies or advanced option strategies. And please click subscribe, ring the bell, get all the alerts. I appreciate everything. Thanks, Keegan, for filling in and answering some of those tough questions. And we'll see you next week on next week's show.